Hello and good evening on this beautiful Sunday evening. We are coming live to you from Cape Town in South Africa, and this is Medicine for All Times. My name is Svenja and my spirit name is Twirling Mystical Dreamer. Medicine for All Times was birthed during the global pandemic as a means to bring an essence and a knowledge and healing words to others. It has evolved into a powerful platform of local and international speakers who all share incredible depth and wisdom that is so necessary at this time and at all times. So I just want to thank you all for your essence and for joining us this evening. And while we wait for some people to connect with us live, I just want to take a moment to ground and to settle in. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful evening of sharing. The topic is being masculine. It's definitely a topic that I think is very relevant and very necessary to have in these times. So let's just take a moment to connect to our sits bones. Whatever surface you are sitting on, really feel the pressure of the weight of your body on your sits bones, and take a moment to close your eyes. Uncross your legs and uncross your arms or your hands, and feel a beautiful relaxation in your shoulders and a softening of your ears and a softening of your eyelids. Allow your forehead to uncrease and allow your jaw to just drop away, your tongue moving away from your palate. Bringing yourself into the here now moment, this beautiful space where we can be receptive and where we can absorb the beautiful wisdom that is going to be shared this evening. And I just want to connect and call in our energetic allies to be with us in the space tonight. We move in harmony and in essence with the energies as we move through our everyday, and I just want to offer deep gratitude to them. So connecting to the element of air, the breath that we take in to nourish all of our cells, and with that, as we expel the breath, it is this beautiful natural detoxification system. The four winds that carry our messages and our voices out into the world, the connection to clear and make space to bring about clarity. We thank you for being in the space with us tonight. Oh, and connecting to the element of fire, the passion and creativity, the element that can burn away all that we no longer need, and that can also ignite our desires, and our creation for what we are wanting to bring forth into the world. So, really connecting to that beautiful first technology that was gifted to us. We thank you for being in this space with us tonight. Aho. And connecting to the beautiful element of water, the element that teaches us that we can continue the flow regardless of the obstacles that stand in our way, that we can ride the wave knowing that at the other side of the wave there is always calm. Such beautiful lessons to take with us in this lifetime. And the tears that wash our souls, really necessary to wash occasionally to connect to that beautiful essence. We thank you for being in this space with us tonight. Aho. And to the element of earth and the stone people, the beautiful deep wisdom and eldership, the connection to ancestors, the connection to something so much greater and deeper than ourselves. The reminder to stand tall and to stand strong against all adversity. We thank you for being with us with your beautiful, strong essence and presence in this space tonight. Aho. And taking a deep breath and allowing our eyes to flutter open. And preparing our bodies and our minds for rich, deep wisdom and sharing this evening. It is my deep privilege to have our first speaker. We have Craig Peacock coming up first, and his topic is going to be cultivating a strong masculine field. Craig is a devotee to the divine source of all creation. His personal objective on this planet is the exploration of balance and the embodiment of the qualities of the divine that he holds dear. For the moment, this means exploring what it means to be a man in modern times, whilst creating and sharing in the pleasures of life. Craig, thank you so much for your essence. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for being with us, and I really look forward to listening to your share.
Sure. Well, firstly, thank you for opening the space for this platform and for inviting all of us to come here and share what we've learned. And thank you for everyone listening that's come to join to receive some of the messages that we have to share tonight. It's really important that we consciously make time for ourselves and for the culture and the experience that we're trying to create. So I'd like to just take a moment to acknowledge the audience for doing that. This year, we've heard a lot about toxic masculinity in the media, but that's not really what I'd like to talk about here tonight. Tonight, I'd like to really focus on something that's very close to my heart, something I spend a lot of time thinking about, and that's the concept of intoxicating masculinity. So my chat tonight is going to focus more specifically on the masculine energy in a healthy sense. I'm Craig Peacock. In my professional life, I'm a business director for businesses operating in the electronic payments and financial technology space. I'm an ex-scout, but at my heart, as you heard in the introduction, very much a devotee of the divine and finding the divine's expression in nature all around us. And through that, very much also become a committed conservationist. But the reason, actually, why I'm here to chat to everyone tonight is because for the last few years, I've actually been really deeply diving into this concept of what is masculinity and what makes the qualities of a good man in our tribe today in modern times. Now, in media, we've also heard various comments about the obsolescence of men these days. And for a long time, I really had to sit and think about that. Is it true? have men really become unnecessary in modern society? So after spending a lot of time investigating these questions, I've developed a number of perspectives and understandings that I'd actually really love to take the time to share with all of you tonight. But before I dive into that, there's something that I'd really like to clarify. In my lineage of Tantra, the masculine and feminine energies are not opposites. They are very much complementary. So the more masculine you become does not necessarily diminish your feminine energy. When you have both of these energies developed quite strongly in your life, you can actually bring them together harmoniously in one person. And the strength of those energies can change and develop throughout your life and your day even. It is important to understand that both masculine and feminine energies can be embodied in one person at one time, regardless of what their actual physical gender is. The purpose in this lineage of Tantra is actually to strengthen both of these energies in order to better bring them together and hold them together. So after a number of years of focusing exclusively on the masculine side, I've gained some insights into the qualities that can really help anyone, really. I focus a lot on men, but this applies to both men and women, but really help cultivate and increase the intensity of this field in your life. The three key qualities, in my opinion, that really develop this field are: first, learn to be a strong container for the feminine energy in your life and within yourself. Learn to stand your ground. And the third quality is to be good or be good at it. So I'm going to dive into a little bit about what these mean now. The first quality that we want to contain. We build a fireplace not just to have a beautiful fireplace in our house and in our home, but we build a fireplace primarily to attract this flame and this fire into our life. Now, to create a fire takes more than just a fireplace. We need to create the space and provide the structure, but we also need to feed the fire fuel. We need to give it air to breathe. We also, most importantly, need a spark to get the passion going. So the aim of creating this space really is to provide a space where the fire can burn without burning the house down. In essence, we want to provide a space of low consequence play for the feminine energy in our lives. A space where the feminine energy can come in and explore and spread out and feel held and seen, really. We construct this fireplace through choosing morals and ethical codes that resonates deeply and strongly in our lives. And there are many of these codes that humanity has developed over the years. For instance, you can use the Knight's Code of Chivalry is a good example, or the Samurai Bushido Code is another great example. Which code you ultimately select for yourself, and you can choose and you can try a few to try and really find what settles well with you. It's not so important ultimately which one you choose, just more important that you learn to stick to it and develop under it. Really try to use your code as a challenge and a catalyst for your growth. And by that, what I mean is, for me, honesty is very important in my life, and pursuing and having the courage to be honest is very important. And I really had to take some time to sit with that and think about, what does it mean really to be honest? Like, can one ever really truly be honest? And what is the burden it places on me and the people around me in my life? Is the cost worth it? I find pursuing honesty has really benefited my life, because it's also really forced me to sit and think about, what do I actually want? And when I connect with that, a lot of other energy channels in my life already start opening, and things start aligning for me. And I feel very much in resonance when I'm acting and living in alignment with my code of conduct. Um, yeah. So the other thing that a fireplace has is a grill, or in other words, a strong filter. The importance of a fire grill, in essence, is to prevent any unwanted substances or toxins from getting into your fire and upsetting the process that's going on there. So a key component of being a man is learning to establish some discernment in what you let into your fire. The other thing to remember is also having a clear chimney, or a way to extract toxins that have built up in your fireplace. So part of the responsibility of the masculine is also having the discernment in being able to remove any unhealthy substances that have actually built up in that space. Always remember that, as magnificent as your fireplace may ever be, people don't come there to view your fireplace. People gather to view the fire. Always keep that in mind. So part of the preparation in attracting this fire is learning to keep your fireplace clean and tidy and well trimmed at all times, whenever possible. The second quality for developing a strong masculine field, I find, is learning to stand your ground. For this quality, I'd like you to think about Elon Musk. Elon Musk has had a lot of success, and he's demonstrated that he stands by his principles and his fundamentals in those times of success. But he's also had many times of failure, and most importantly, he stuck by the same principles and morals in those times as well. And in so doing, has actually created a lot of new ground for a lot of other people in life, benefiting many, many people. So what I would like to share with you from this example, every man or every person inherits a piece of spiritual ground. And it is through the maintenance and nourishment of that spiritual ground can we develop and transmute it into perhaps maybe one day a physical piece of ground, either a farm somewhere, or an apartment, or some life that we would like to live and create for ourselves. It starts with that spiritual piece of ground. First step in maintaining your ground is getting to know your ground. Know what rights and responsibilities you have holding that ground and occupying that ground. When everyone told Elon Musk that he had achieved enough, he'd made enough money, and that he can't start a rocket company, he knew, at least legally, that he could. And now, through a lot of hard work and application on his part, sticking to his morals and holding his ground, we now have SpaceX. Learn to cultivate the ground itself. Spend time nurturing and nourishing your ground. A little bit of time spent here will return to you many times what you spent on that ground. Musk applies this principle by continuously learning, re-educating himself, continuously looking for the best staff, continuously testing and refining all of his business processes and every part of his business, And it's led to some of the most innovative and creative businesses on the planet. Standing your ground also means holding your ground. They may be the same thing, but holding your ground means not necessarily advancing or pushing forward. And by that, I mean, don't always try and push your ideas on other people. Don't always try and convince people that aren't willing to listen to you. But by the same token, don't just regard what you believe either. Hold on to that tightly. And if there is conflict, just let the world pass by you almost like a river. Whatever sticks to you, deal with according to your code. But otherwise, try not to budge. Invite your friends and your family over to your ground. Be proud of your space and what it has produced and created for you. Share what your ground has produced, but also be prepared to defend and protect your ground along with everyone that you share your ground with. The third key quality for being a man, in my opinion, is be good or be good at it. This is definitely my favorite quality of the masculine. Here's an exercise quickly. Think of a biker gang, any biker gang. 9 times out of 10, everyone thinks of the Hells Angels first. The reason for that is not because they were the best bike riders in the world. They're not better than anyone else. The reason is because they were notorious. Admittedly, they haven't always made the right decisions and approached their problems and their challenges in the right way. But everything they've done to the best of their ability, and they've done it with passion. Very, very passionate people. From this example, I draw that no one likes an apathetic man. A man without any strong opinions or ideas or drives. Don't spend your time doing or achieving nothing. It's very important to the masculine field that we are active and that we are pursuing or exploring or expanding. Playing Xbox and PlayStation is a lot of fun. I know, I've been there. But ultimately, spending all your time on these toys are not going to help you develop your life. Take ownership of your responsibilities in your tribe and in your gang. With great responsibilities comes great personal power. As a man, the quality of your life that you live is a direct result of the quality of the problems that you choose to tackle and take on. And by that, I mean, society only expects the minimum from you and from us. A big part of the masculine field is actually showing innovative approaches and a self-starter attitude to actually taking care of your tribe and your family. The Hells Angels became who they are through the challenges that they set themselves. And this is how we came to know them. Through the responsibilities that they took upon themselves through their initiative. If you're going to break the rules, do it properly. Do it uniquely. Do it romantically. Perhaps even do it slowly. But at least do it in a way that actually gives everyone something to talk about. But most importantly, don't hurt anyone. No. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of this talk, the purpose and what I'd hope to achieve in this or after this is to help everyone cultivate that strong masculine field with the idea that you can balance it and combine it with a stronger or a strong feminine field and create that safe, playful, intimate space in your life. When you have these two energies balanced and aligned with each other, the opportunities that will unlock in your life are really, truly endless. I'm really at the beginning of my journey in bringing these two energies to my life. And what it has returned to me already, and just the time that I spent for it, has really revolutionized my whole approach, my whole path. Uh, and it's that reason why I like to describe myself as a devotee. It's not because I wish to attract any attention. It's because in some ways I've walked a little bit of this path, and I can speak from firsthand experience that the time spent bringing these two energies together will multiply what's available to you many times. So thank you very much for your time and attention on this important topic. I'd love to hear more about how this has affected you. But until then, please take care and enjoy the rest of tonight's speakers. Thank you.
Sure, Craig. Thank you so much. I think I'm going to have to watch that again to really absorb everything that you shared. You really encapsulated so much, and I love your 3 points. Learn to be a strong container, learn to stand your ground, be good or be good at it. So valuable, and as you said, it doesn't matter whether we are a masculine gender or not. It's within all of us, and it's beautiful to bring those complementary energies together. Thank you for very, very valuable information and sharing. That was really amazing to listen to. Thank you, Craig.
All my pleasure. Yes.
So next up, I'm so excited that we've been able to get them to connect, because they are coming all the way from Zambia and they have not had electricity for the last 3 days. So this is really just such a blessing that they've been able to get here and to join us. We've got Matt, Maclean, and Katrina that are joining us with their incredible musical magic. I'm sure most of you know who they are, and I'm really, really looking forward to hearing what they've got to share with us.
Blessings. Thank you so much for having us. This is awesome. Can you guys get us all right on that side?
How's the sound? Cool. I just want to thank Craig for sharing on this topic. It's super interesting because my focus right now and my coaching right now is all around the divine feminine, but more specifically around the divine feminine on the path of divine union. And Matt and I
Oh no, they seem to have frozen on
kind
my
of tell
side.
and feel this very special body, and that we share through our...
Should I have to put on my hotspot?
Sure. Is it any better now that I just put off our video for a moment? How's our sound? Any better?
Yes, so sound is good. Perhaps it is better just to have the video off now.
Yeah, well, we might be able to switch Wi-Fi sources, but for this moment, there we go. So just really, really grateful for that opening, Craig, and that balance, because divine union is also really our path and our greatest area of passion. And I do resonate with what you said toward the end about it being kind of just this simple different beliefs that we get to this point, balance of divine union between feminine and masculine.
Okay, there we go. We're back.
So there we go. We're back. We'll just start singing now, and I'll stop yapping. How about that? That'll help.
I open up my heart to you. up my heart and kiss the ground. Allow your heart to show you how. I open up my heart to you. I open up my heart to you. Redeem yourself and kiss the ground. Allow your heart to show you how. Some will never go that far to heal the shadows and the scars. Live a light we were born unto. Receive me, I am you. Hey, 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 redeem yourself and kiss the ground. Allow your heart to show you how.
I'll show you how. Show me how.
Hey, 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 Bless, guys. Thank you so much. How's the connection there? Is it doing all right?
Is it okay?
Yeah, we are losing you occasionally, but it's just beautiful. Have you got one more song for us?
We got one more for you right now, yeah. We are in the dark here. Power hasn't come in to our side of the farm yet, but technology these days allows us to still connect.
Thank you, and thank you for still connecting even with your challenge with electricity.
Yeah, absolutely. The vibe is here. Would you like to bring our souls to you?
Yeah. Cool. Who here, just to refresh my memory, was at Learning Clan this year? Who was there? Just you, Craig. No one else was at Learning Clan this year? Okay. This was the theme song of Learning Clan for us this year. We bring our souls.
Yeah, we bring our... Are we back on?
I'll just go off video.
We're going to turn our video off, guys, because it's stopping on our side as well now.
That was the teaser.
Cool.
Good. The picture you see is not at Learning Clan. Probably singing the song.
I was actually singing the song. We bring our souls to you.
Yeah, we bring our souls. Things will get better, get better, get better.
Yeah, they always do. We go down together. Yeah, we always will. So let us rise up, we rise up, we rise up, we rise as one, one, one. We bring our souls to you. Yeah, we bring our souls. We bring our souls to you. Yeah, we bring our soul. Things will get better. Get better, get we go down together. Yeah, we always will. So let us rise up, we rise up, we rise up, we rise as one. One, one. We bring our souls. Yeah, we bring our souls. Souls to you. Yeah, we bring our souls. We go down together. Yeah, we always will. We always will. We always will. Let us rise up. We rise up. We rise up. We rise as one. So let us rise up. We rise up. We rise up. We rise as one. So let us rise up. We rise up. We rise up. We rise as one. 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 We bring our soul. We bring our souls. We bring our hands. We bring our hearts. We bring our intentions. We bring our desires and our dreams, and we lay them down at the feet of the divine with the intention of global healing, of permaculture, that intention, and we come together to create this magic here and now on this ground. Like Craig said, wherever our ground is, we stand in that ground and we create our own slice of paradise to share here in the best way we can with the resources that we have. Whether that we have a little apartment and just have a couple of potted plants outside, or a whole piece of land, whatever that is, we create this beauty and we bring our souls through what we're creating around us, here and now.
Oh, so beautiful.
Thank you guys so much. Many blessings.
Thank you. And sorry, I just want to mute you. Thank you for, as I said, offering your essence even with the technological issues. And I think that probably for me is one of the themes of this year around using technology, is that we've also become more forgiving, and understanding that everybody is just doing the best that they can with the resources that they have. So thank you. That music was so beautiful. It really touched my heart, and I'm blessed to have seen you live in action a few times. So yeah, thank you. I look forward to your share a little bit later on. Up next, we have an incredible speaker, Jonti Searll, and his topic is male sexuality, sensuality, the issues, myths, and possibilities. Jonti Searll is a conscious sexuality practitioner and sensationalist, Thank goodness my tongue is operating well tonight, that I could say all of that. He helps people with sexual and relationship issues, guides people on journeys of sexual healing, growth, learning, and exploration. Jonti, thank you so much for your essence this evening. Thank you for your time, and I really look forward to hearing what you have to share with us this evening. Sorry, Jonti, won't you unmute yourself, please? That's also the phrase for 2020 is you're still muted.
Hey, is that better? Can you hear me? Wonderful. So thank you for the opportunity to share and for everyone who's sharing with us tonight. The guys on this platform, Svenja and Russ, and everybody wherever you are in the world. It's so important that we have gatherings and discussions and sharing like this, and that we're able to connect with each other, to learn from each other. So thank you. I'm grateful for that. So the way that we live is in terms of patterns. And an easy way to understand that is every time you brush your teeth in the same way. You bath or shower, you wash in the same way, you eat in the same way. Our patterns are in our mind and in our bodies. And when it comes to sexuality, that's so important to understand that the patterning in our bodies keeps us doing what it is that we do. This has nothing to do with fulfillment. It has nothing to do with happiness. It has nothing to do with growth or expansion. It simply is that the patterns that we live with keep us doing what it is that we do. And most of our patterns are subconscious. We're not aware of them. And it's only when we have some kind of problem or issue that we start exploring ourselves and get to see how much of what we do, including our sexuality, and maybe more than any other part of life, is patterned. And I say maybe more than anything else, because generally sex is the part of life that we speak about the least. It's everywhere in our world, and everything is infused with sexuality. And sex is used for so many things in so many ways. But it's the part of life that we speak about openly and honestly the least. So there is so much myth and misunderstanding and misinformation about sex. Then we get very little education for pleasure. We get biology and we get some sex education, but we get very little education for pleasure as to what that actually means. And we have very few strong male role models. And where do we find sexual male role models? So most people and so many men's sex education comes from porn. And our exposure to porn at the moment, first exposure to porn is around between age 10 and 12, simply because of technology. So many men and young men get exposed to porn, and that becomes the way that they think sex is. So what we learn from porn is that every woman goes to bed with high heels on, because you never see a woman without shoes on in mainstream porn. And nipples are like the dials on a radio. You know, everybody's looking for the right station and the right connection. And every woman has multiple orgasms from sheer pounding penetration. And it's fine to ejaculate all over her face. And that becomes such a source of information. And everything that happens in porn becomes the way that so many men see women. And then the other source of education that we get kind of comes from, let's call it sort of the Disney Hollywood combine, which is the curtains blowing in the breeze off the beach, and there's this empty bottle of champagne in the ice bucket and this trail of clothes leading to the bed, and everybody had a simultaneous orgasm the night before, and everybody wakes up with perfect hair and nobody's breath smells. And there's no reality in this. There's no education and there's no openness. And then when men talk about sex with each other, it's all about conquest, and it's all about conquer, and how many orgasms, and how many times did I make her come, and how much did she squirt, and how much she screamed and moaned, and all of this stuff. So it becomes, our sexuality comes in a way that has absolutely no connection to reality, and it becomes so much about performance. And as soon as there's performance, there is pressure, because you have to buy into the whole performance, and I have to do all of the stuff. And if I make you come and give you this wonderful orgasm, I get to wear a Superman t-shirt tomorrow because everything is absolutely fabulous. And we don't have spaces to talk honestly about sex and what it means to be a sexual man. And one of the biggest disconnects from this is the disconnect between our genitals and our hearts. So for so many men, sex is a genital activity and a very goal-oriented activity. And what we've done is we have made orgasm the goal of sex. And that narrows the possibility and the field of possibility enormously. Because what we've done with that is we've said that there is one criterion for a successful sexual experience, and that is orgasm. And so much of that is about the patterning that we experience. So for a man, every time he has sex, from the time he started touching himself at whatever age that was, it ended in orgasm. And when men have sex, there's almost this guarantee of orgasm. Doesn't matter how long he lasts, whether it's for 30 seconds or whether it's for an hour or whether it's 3 hours or 10 minutes, it's about the orgasm, and it's about genitals. And as soon as we do this, we cut down on this, firstly, this enormous field of possibility. And in this, we have created this incredible disconnect between our hearts and our genitals. So one of the biggest things that's so important for men to shift is that when entry point to sex is the heart, when it becomes much more about heart-centered sexuality and the energy flowing from our heart to our genitals, from our genitals back to our heart, up to the higher centers in our body, that's when we start to expand and understand sex differently. And then understanding that when we make sex about pleasure, so much changes, because then we get out of this goal of orgasm. Now, you remember I was talking about patterns. Our bodies have become so conditioned and patterned, almost addicted to orgasm. Now, I need to make a disclaimer here because it's really important. There is nothing wrong with orgasms. Orgasms are wonderful and fabulous and fantastic. And you can have so many different kinds of orgasm, even as a man. But when it's all about orgasm, it becomes all about our genitals, and everything else gets kind of right out of our awareness and our consciousness. When sex is more about the heart, it's more about connection, and it's more about intimacy. It's more about exploration, and it's more about possibility rather than one goal. And that's where the field of literally limitless possibilities starts to open up. To do this, we have to have a connection with ourselves first and understand that our sexuality is more about us than about anybody else. In fact, it's totally about us. But what we often do so much as men is, as soon as we start to get aroused, as soon as we start to get an erection, somebody has to do something about that. And it becomes somebody else's journey or somebody else's responsibility because you turned me on. And when we start becoming more conscious with sexuality, and this is interesting. So the definition of conscious sexuality is being fully present during sex and allowing whatever arises to be there, whatever arises. And that means when we go deeply into our sexuality, we understand that sexual experiences are going to bring up anger, they're going to bring up fear, they're going to bring up rejection, they're going to bring up loneliness, they're going to bring up shame, they're going to bring up all these different aspects of ourselves. And as men, when we can allow all of that to be there, we're creating intimacy because we're sharing ourselves. And on my personal journey, when sex started to be more about intimacy than about genitals, that's where so much changed. And the expansion and the extension of that comes when sex is much more of an energy experience, and our bodies are portals for this energy. And that's when the fullness of who we are can be there and can be present. And when we are present in that space, that's when the partners that we're with can connect. And when we do our own sexual work and we understand that, one of the things that Craig spoke about was creating a vessel. And when we do our work, we create that vessel for our partners to be in the fullness of their sexuality because there is safety. When we are very, I have no idea on this platform if there are any limitation on words that we can use. Svenja, are there? Okay, so when our sexuality is totally cock-oriented, there is actually no safety because all it's about is some kind of penetration, some kind of orgasm, and there is no safety in that. There's no safety for a woman to open the fullness of herself. And for so many men, their greatest fantasy is the sexually open, powerful woman, but it's also their greatest fear. Because the fantasy is that there is nothing that the sexual woman will not do, but the fear is that she's going to fuck you to death and ask for more, and you don't know how to actually do that because you are not in your power as a man. And the sexual power of men comes from moving that energy through our bodies, from getting out of that goal of orgasm and allowing the fullness of the experience, whatever that is, to be there. And when we do that, we start to see more of who we are as sexual beings, what the possibilities are. And for so long, for so many men, there has been an incredible amount of shame about many aspects of our sexuality. So much of what people call the shadow and the darkness of our sexuality. And that shame has disconnected us from ourselves. So many aspects of our sexuality are not part of who we are. They're not part of our being. They're totally disconnected and separate from who we are. And these aspects of ourselves need ways of expression because they are so powerful. And the more we suppress them, the more they come out in aberrant ways because we don't know who we are. And we don't have a space to explore this because when we start to reveal ourselves as sexual men, very often there is an enormous amount of judgment. So there's incredible fear from men. When I reveal myself, when I reveal my fantasies, when I tell you what really turns me on, when I tell you what I really want to do in the depths of my being, and you reject that, we're being rejected at incredibly deep and vulnerable parts of ourselves. So we are so conditioned as men to stay away from vulnerability and from sharing ourselves. And it's only in that vulnerability, only in revealing ourselves, that we're able to create that intimacy and that connection. And the fascinating thing is we are all, and men desperately crying out in every atom of their bodies for intimacy. And at the same time, it's what we fear because we don't have any education for it. We don't have a container for that. So we become so isolated, and we just turn that into this incredibly cock-oriented, orgasm-oriented expression of sexuality, an incredible judgment of our genitals, of how big they are. I mean, that's the biggest fear for men, of their genitals. And it doesn't matter how big it is never big enough. If it's halfway down my thighs, why can't it be down to my knees? The fact that either of them would be totally useless is irrelevant. I just want, because we have this myth about how big it needs to be, and then how long it is that we need to last, and all of these things, and so much about sexual technique. And all of that's important. There's no question of that. You need to learn about your partner's body. You need to learn about her anatomy, about where everything is in her body, how you find it, what you do with it, about intimacy, about love, about sexual energy, about all of these things. And all of that is sometimes totally overwhelming. So we just go back into the pattern of what it is that we know. And we do the same thing again and again and again. When we start entering sex from the heart, and when we understand that when we are penetrating someone, we're penetrating our lover with every aspect of our being. Everything is coming into that penetration. That's when we start to become more present in sex. It's not about the fantasies. It's not about whatever porn we were watching on the internet or wherever it is that you might be fantasizing about. It's about being fully present in that. And that presence has to come from ourselves. And that's an enormous shift for men. It's going from an external sexuality, which is about someone else and something else and an act with someone else, and bringing that inwards. That our sexuality is an expression of our being and of every aspect of our being, rather than it just being this genital, orgasmic, very limited expression. And when we start to do this, we start to understand from a perspective that sex in any way is an expression of divinity, that it is sacred. Now, let's just digress for a minute here, because not every sexual experience is going to be this big, sacred, beautiful connection. Sometimes, the fullness of our sexuality is like the fullness of eating. That there's times you might want absolute junk food and a milkshake, and there's times you want absolute gourmet food. And sometimes little quickies and play are absolutely awesome. And then we have these deeper experiences of conscious sexuality and presence, and of tantric sexual experiences that might last 3 or 4 hours, and different kinds of massage. And all of that is in the spectrum of our sexuality. But we need to look at all of them. We need to acknowledge them. We need to taste all of these aspects of who we are and be able to share them fully with presence in the moment. And when we are in that presence, that's when our lovers, and I'm going to put this in a context, in a heterosexual context for now, but it applies to any relationship. When we're in the fullness of that, that's when our lovers are going to open themselves to us absolutely, fully, in every way possible. But that requires us to go inwards. And this for many men is so difficult because the sexual experience is about someone else. And we're turning that totally to say, my sexuality is mine. And my sexual journey, my work, is my inner journey with myself, with my body, with my genitals, with my heart. And in that connection, I start to free myself from the patterning, from the conditioning, from the beliefs, from the expectations. And that's huge. The expectation is enormous. And for most of us, all of that is subconscious. We've never really looked at it. What does our partner really want? What do they expect from us sexually? And there's something interesting. It's come up quite a lot in the past couple of weeks. When a man chooses to stop having ejaculations all the time he has sex, a lot of women struggle with that enormously because they think something is wrong with them. He's not turned on enough and he's not aroused enough. And that's because I must be doing something wrong, that I'm not fulfilling him enough. So those subconscious expectations keep us trapped in patterns of sexual expression that often are not fulfilling. And, you know, I write a lot, and I wrote a piece a while ago that said, just because you're having orgasms does not mean that you are sexually fulfilled. And it was kind of aimed at both men and women, because oftentimes when we're just having sex from this place of patterning and we have this orgasm and ejaculation, and it's important here just to say orgasm and ejaculation are not the same thing. Men can have orgasms without ejaculating, and men can also be multi-orgasmic. And when we start experiencing and learning and playing with that, so much of our sexuality changes as well. But because we're so conditioned to this idea of orgasm, we actually take away the idea of sexual fulfillment, because we have this orgasm and we're so used to the experience ending in that way. And often inside of us afterwards, there's kind of an emptiness. There's the space in our heart that says, okay, so that was nice, that was fun, that was sometimes fabulous. But that's all it is, because what happens after that? And when we start expressing ourselves as lovers in this way, and we say we are actually going to make love, that changes things enormously, because what does that mean? If I'm going to have an experience of making love with you, of intimacy and connection with you, then I need to be doing something different to what it is that I've done before. Otherwise, I just go back into this kind of penetration in some way and that orgasm. So I have to really sit down and think, if we are going to have this experience that is about love, and that is about more love in me, in you, between us, we need to do something that's very different. That doesn't mean penetration is not a part of that, but it needs to be in a different space, in a different context, in a different way. And sometimes in a very deep erotic space of incredible intimacy and connection with a partner, you actually learn to stay away from penetration in that moment, because that takes us into the patterning of what it is that we've done. And for so many men, the difficulty is in going beyond the patterning. And again, the way that we do this is by doing our own work as men and finding out what our sexuality is, and being able to connect and share that with other men is so important. You know, for so long in the world, there's been this incredibly powerful feminist movement. And whatever was right or wrong with that is kind of secondary, simply because it's existed and it's given women so many platforms of sharing. And the idea of brotherhood is actually pretty new. It's pretty recent. And in that, sex is still not a part of that for so many men and for so many groups, because we're terrified again of going into that naked body, of touching another man, of touching another naked man, of touching another naked man's genitals in a way that is simply an expression in a moment of who we are. And by breaking down those barriers, we start to see what intimacy really is. And that fulfillment is in the intimacy and the connection, rather than just in the orgasm and just in our bodies. And then every experience, whether it is just an orgasmically oriented quickie to the absolute and I don't want to use this word in a judgmental way, deeper, higher experiences. They're not better, they're not worse, they're simply different. But they all express the fullness of who we are. And as we eat different things every day, we don't eat the same thing every day. As we eat different things, so our sexuality needs the fullest expression of who we are. And sometimes that is this really vulnerable little boy inside of me that wants to be held and cuddled to this absolute sexual God that is going to give you so much pleasure and moments of absolute dissolution of our bodies in sexual and cosmic energy. All of those are part of who we are. And the more conscious we become of our sexuality, the more we can express all of these parts of ourselves. And we heal ourselves from the shame of this. And the shame that so many men carry sexually is also the shame of the heart. It's the shame of our self-definition as men. And in so many men, it has stopped us being in the fullness of our fire as men, because we become really scared to really be in that absolute power as a man. And our sexuality is the most beautiful journey to start connecting with and reclaiming all of those parts of who we are. And the consciousness of this brings us into presence. And when we're in presence, everything that we do flows from that. Then any sexual technique is so secondary because it's simply the connection of our hearts. And in that moment, we know exactly what to do. We know exactly how to be there. And that opens the space for our partners to be in the fullness of that. So our sexuality in this world of men and women is really entwined, because as we become more conscious of men, as we become more conscious as men, we want the same thing from our partners. We want to be met in that place of awareness, in that place of consciousness, and that place of amazing, limitless possibility. But it comes out of who we are as an expression of ourselves, of just being in the fullness of that beautiful, loving, powerful, vulnerable, open, masculine sexual presence. And I think that's what I have to share with you tonight.
Awesome, Jonti. Sure. Thank you so very, very much. That was such a beautiful reminder to connect back to the heart space. And for me, being a mom of a young boy, it's really given me a lot to think about. And I think that it also gives us an opportunity generally as mothers and as fathers on how to consciously raise our sons. So it's, as much as there is work to be done in the adult male realm, it's also about how we raise our boys to be more connected to their heart spaces, to not be that goal orientated, to not work into or live into that shame, to not set themselves up for failure, basically, with these unnecessary expectations. Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Lots and lots to chew on and to think about, and a very necessary conversation to have. As you said, it's conversations that we don't often have. We shy away from them, and I think it's really great that you've brought it to this platform. Thank you. Thanks for your share, Jonti. Next up, we have our beautiful music makers again that are coming to us from Zambia. So their connection is, they really are doing their best, and just again, deep, deep gratitude for connecting with us. At the moment in their area where they are staying, they haven't had electricity for 3 days. and they are hotspotting and they're doing their best. So the connection is not as fluid as we would like it to be. So please, I ask for the watchers, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching the replay, please be patient. Their music is really superb and spectacular, and they're doing the best that they can with what they have. Thank you, Matt and Katrina, for gifting us with some more musical magic.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And you guys are welcome. Maybe we can put it in the chat when we're done, but if you want to listen to some of our music without the network going out, maybe we'll put our Bandcamp link there for you so that it's all one fluid line for you.
Awesome. This song is called Same Heart. Same heart, same start, we walk, we honor the same ground. We've all got the same number of toes on our feet. And if you don't, you are still beautiful in the eyes of the one who I believe. Same sun, same star, we're breathing in the same stuff. We've all got the same color of blood under our skin. And if you don't, you are still beautiful in the eyes of the one who created you and me. The one who created you, the one who created me. The one who created you created me. As we move here together, through the heartbeat of the one we are connected. As we walk, we are walking each other home, walking each other home, walking each other home to the rainbow land. Same wound, same truth, we're growing from the same roots. We've all got the same love in our heart, do you believe? And if you don't, you are still beautiful in the eyes of the one who created you and me. One who created you, the one who created me. The one who created you created me. The one who created you created me. Thank you so much. I think we have one more for you. What's that one more gonna be? It's such a surprise. Water? Yeah, awesome. Water is life. ama hiya ho. Hey ama hiya 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 ama hiya ho. Hey ama hiya 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 ama hiya ho. Hey ama hiya 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 ho. The water in me,
The water in me
loves the water in you.
loves the water in you.
The river of life, let it flow through. The water in me,
The water in me
loves the water in you.
loves the water in you.
The river of life, let it flow through. Hey, I'm a hey, 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 I'm a hey, oh. Hey, I'm a hey, 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 I'm a hey, oh. Hey, I'm a hey, 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 I'm a hey, oh. Hey, I'm a hey, 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 oh. Yeah, manja. Yeah, manja. Yeah, manja. We are water. Yeah, manja. Yeah, manja. Yeah, manja. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Hey, I'm a hey, oh. Hey, I'm a oh. Hey, I'm a hey, 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 I'm a hey, oh. Hey, I'm a hey, 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 oh. Let it rain down.
Let it rain down.
Let it pour.
Let it pour.
Let it rain down. Let it pour.
Let it pour some more.
Let it rain down.
Rain down.
Let it pour.
Let it pour.
Let it rain down. Let it pour. Let it rain down.
Let it rain down.
Let it pour.
Let it pour.
Let it rain down. Let it pour. Let it rain down.
Let it rain down.
Let it pour.
Let it pour.
Let it rain down. Let it pour. Hey, I'm a hey, 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 I'm a hey, oh. Hey, I'm a hey, 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 oh. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience on the internet connection. I'm sure a lot of you can familiarize. But yeah, blessings. This has been so awesome. Thank you for the amazing information you guys have really shared and touched light on. It's so important in this time for our brothers to know this information and to practice this information in this day and this rising of the warrior in all of us. So
Thank you, Matt. I think we seem to have lost you there for a moment.
thank you all.
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Matt.
There we go. Gosh. Let me just, there, I think that's better. Thank you so very much for the beautiful musical magic and for sharing your essence and your beautiful voices and playing with us all the way from Zambia. It really it's deeply soul and heart touching, your songs, and I feel very honored that you have made the time to join us this evening. So thank you. We will put your details and links to recordings in the comments underneath this live. So for anybody, if they're wanting to connect to the music and to be able to hear it streamed consistently without glitches, then you'll have access to it once the live is done. Thank you once again. Sure, what a beautiful, incredible evening it's been so far, and I am deeply, deeply honoured to welcome our next speaker, Volker Schlettwein. We have walked a path together the last couple of years, and I've had the deep privilege to sit in ceremony with you a number of times, and I feel so grateful that you have joined us with your essence and your incredible masculine work that you are doing at the moment and that you're offering to the world. It's really so relevant and so necessary, and so I'm really looking forward to your share. Let me do a quick introduction. So your topic is healing the wounded masculine. Volker is a passionate and somewhat eclectic coach, facilitator, trainer, and nature lover, actively involved in personal transformation for over a decade. Through his brand Wild at Heart, he offers coaching, workshops, wilderness transformation retreats, rite of passage initiations, and public talks supporting deep healing towards reclaiming authentic flow, power, and potential. Thank you, Volker, for being here and for your patience with coming up last as the speaker. I really look forward to listening to your share.
Thank you so much, Svenja. And there's no need to thank me for my patience. It's been an honor. I just want to thank the previous two speakers. Yeah, Craig, Jonti, thank you so much for your shares. It's been wonderful to listen to you and receiving your wisdom. And thanks, Matt and Katrina, for your beautiful music. And of course, Svenja and Russ for making this all possible, and your efforts behind the scenes, and of course the viewers who are watching this. Thank you so much. It's so great to be here. So yeah, I want to speak a little bit about the healing of the wounded masculine, and there's a lot that can be said about it. And in the 30-minute slot that I have, I'd like to focus more specifically on the topic of vulnerability. So thank you, Jonti, for also sort of setting the tone for what I'd like to share, because there's quite a nice resonance with a lot of what you were sharing around that heart connection. And I want to talk specifically about the power of vulnerability, why vulnerability is essential on any man's healing path for men to really reconnect with themselves, their truth, who we are, where we're going, why we're here, our joy, our purpose in the world. It's not possible without the willingness to be vulnerable. But let's talk for a moment about why. Why is vulnerability so important? Why is it so important for us to feel our feelings, to express our feelings? I think a lot of us know, most of us know that men at large have been conditioned to believe that vulnerability is a weakness. It starts at a very young age, as boys being told that boys don't cry, be tough, don't be a wussy, put your boy pants on. All these messages we receive from a young age by a masculine who themselves were conditioned in a similar way. So it's not a judgment, it's simply a compassionate acknowledgement that the burdens get handed down and we get conditioned. And men at large have been conditioned to avoid vulnerability and to be tough, to be tough. In order to be accepted in the world, we need to be tough. And what happens is, and excuse the generalization, this obviously doesn't apply to all men, but I think many men, too many men can relate to what I'm saying. I certainly can relate to what I'm sharing because this is my own story. Being raised to believe that we need to be tough in the world, put on the tough exterior so that we can be accepted by everybody. And it's really important for men to understand the difference between being tough and being powerful. Having a tough exterior, wearing the mask of toughness, the illusion of toughness, does not mean that you're powerful at your core, does not mean that you're truly strong. This tough front that we put up to be accepted in the world is not going to bring relief to those core limiting beliefs that so many men are sitting with. That little boy inside that still firmly believes, I'm not good enough, I don't belong, I'm not worthy, I'm not seen. Feeling lost, feeling restless, the anxieties, the depressions, those emotional states are not going to receive relief or healing by us trying to be tough in the world. And we've been conditioned, as I said, to try to be tough because we don't know the power of our own vulnerability. So I'd like to share some of that with you this evening. And I think it's really important for men to receive almost like a logical explanation. You know, it's one thing to be told. Men need to feel their feelings. Men need to feel into their emotional stuff. But if you're not providing a really sound, logical explanation for why, almost at a scientific level, you know, and I love to bring the science in when I'm doing the men's work, because a lot of us men are in our heads. You know, we've been conditioned into our heads because we're disconnected from the heart space. So don't just tell a man to feel his feelings, help his mind to understand why it's so important. And that's what I want to do this evening. And that's why I actually want to share a slide or two with you so that men can truly see, why is it so important for me to feel my feelings, to really connect into my vulnerability, and what happens to me when I don't? So I'm going to quickly bring up one or two slides. Just bear with me a moment. Let me just share my screen quickly. And those of you who may have seen one or two of my talks in the past, you may have seen me presenting this slide already. It's a slide I use quite often. This is David Hawkins, Dr. David Hawkins. He's no longer with us, but he's done incredible work as a psychologist, professor, philosopher. He's written many, many best-selling books, and using kinesiology and other methods, he was actually able, through a lot of research, to measure the frequency of emotion. So the slide that I'm showing here is literally showing you the range of the energies in terms of emotion. And when we as human beings, this does not only apply to men, obviously it applies to all of us, but men particularly need to get this message because of that strong conditioning that we're sitting with. When we have experiences from our earliest experience, which is potentially even pre-birth, you know, there's some evidence coming to light that from the womb, we're already consciously connecting into energy. Our mother's anxiety, her joy, whatever energetic state she is in, we're feeling into that from the womb already. Then we have our birth experience, which for many can be quite traumatic, and then we experience life, okay? And the individuation phase, which is the phase we go through of becoming an individual in the world, that's happening in those first 5 to 7 years. We are absorbing everything into our reality that's happening very, very quickly, like a sponge. We're watching our father and our mother or whoever our caregivers might be, and we are being very, very observant and deeply impacted. Am I being loved? Am I being seen? Am I being held? Am I being nurtured? Am I being validated? And those core limiting beliefs, that core emotional wounding is already there within those first 5 to 7 years. And then from there, a lot of the reinforcing happens, you know. We start to compensate for limiting beliefs. We try to role play and wear certain masks to be accepted by the world. And men in particular, as young boys, being conditioned to not feel our feelings, we get so caught up in the role playing, you know, the forming of initially the identity, how we perceive ourselves to be in those first 5 to 7 years. That is the forming of the identity. Who do I believe I am in this world? My dad's not seeing me, my mom's not loving me, or maybe they are, and that's having a massive impact on my energetic blueprints, what I believe about myself, my own conditioning. And then through my identity, if I'm perceiving to be lacking in anything, if at some level I don't believe that I'm good enough or that I'm lovable, what's happening then is I develop a personality to compensate for my identity with its limiting beliefs and core emotional woundings. So the personality that I then develop is almost like a compensating tendency or a compensation for something that I perceive to be lacking within myself. People pleasers are a great example to refer to illustrate what I'm talking about. You know, someone who's very much a caregiver in the world, always trying to help everyone and heal everyone and take care of everyone, often at their own expense, that often is influenced by the identity of not really receiving enough validation as a young child, not really feeling like I'm fully lovable for who I am. And then the identity is formed, oh, I'm not lovable for who I am. I'm lovable for what I do. So I need to always be doing something to receive love. And then the personality is developed to compensate for the lack of love. And that's where the people pleaser personality comes from. And there's obviously a whole range. So we start to receive this conditioning, as I said, at a very, very young age. And every time we have an experience, keeping in mind, and it's maybe worth saying, very important, actually, I think to say, that when we choose to come here and live life on earth embodied in human form, we sign up to experience our full range of emotions. And we can see it out in nature, in wildlife, you know, full range of emotions. If a hyena comes and tries to sort of threaten a lion's cub, that lion is going to go into a rage. And they also know how to nurture. They know how to play. They know how to get angry. It's a natural part of life. We as human beings are here to feel our full range of emotions. We are not here to live a permanent, joyful life with unicorns and rainbows, because we all experience loss. We all lose loved ones. We all are going to have times of deep, deep grief and mourning. And we are built as human beings, not built, but designed to feel emotion, and then the emotion moves through us and we return back to our natural flow state. All right. So referring to this diagram, when we, prior to our conditioning, so prior to the forming of that identity and the woundings we receive through the rejections, the betrayals, the abandonments, the potential abuse many of us have experienced, prior to that, we are vibrating at a very natural, high vibration state of flow, which would be pretty much in that purple zone. It's flow, love, joy, peace. There's no conditioning. There's no judgment of anything. The baby will cry when it's hungry, 5 minutes later, laugh, 2 minutes later, get a fright and cry again. And it's simply feeling an experience, reacting to it or responding to it emotionally. The emotion passes and it just keeps returning to its natural flow state. And then, of course, through the conditioning that I've been speaking about, boys start to get told, don't cry, toughen up. Boys must be seen and not heard. And we then start to suppress. So those emotions, keeping in mind, of course, that emotion is energy in motion, E-motion. It's nothing more than energy that's moving through us. When we start to suppress it and we stop allowing ourselves to really feel those feelings moving through us, we start to impact the emotional blueprint of our being. Because as you can see there, emotion carries frequency, right? So if I experience a trauma or I experience a loss, maybe at the age of 18, my sweetheart breaks up with me, and that immense pain that I should allow myself to feel, if I've been conditioned to run from my pain and I go and drink 6 beers instead, I am then locking that emotion into my body. I'm suppressing it. Emotion is energy, all right? So every time I have an experience that has quite a strong emotional equivalent or association, if I don't really sit with it and allow myself to feel it, I'm locking low vibration energy into my body. Shame, guilt, grief, fear, anger. Another way, maybe a nice analogy, is just imagine your energetic blueprints to be like flowing water, crystal clear flowing water, always moving. Emotion just moving through you, and you just keep naturally returning to your flow states. I feel my pain, I feel my anger, and I return. When I suppress my emotions, that is like accumulating little blocks of ice into your flow. Heavy, dense vibration. And the more we suppress, the more we accumulate in these ice blocks until we forget that we are natural flow and we believe we are the ice blocks that we are accumulating. And when we start to impact the energetic flow of our being by accumulating these suppressed emotions and energies, it not only creates an emotional, or should I say an energetic imbalance, it creates an emotional and a physical imbalance. What's actually happening in the body is your energy centers start to get blocked because we're accumulating foreign energy into our body, dense vibration. That bundle of energy that's now vibrating there, maybe it's been there for 10 years because I keep suppressing my emotions from many, many years ago. That dense energy that's vibrating there actually starts to impact the physical tissue, the physical body itself, which then starts to become imbalanced as well. And initially we get the early warning signs that something's out of balance within our body. Our body is always speaking to us. So the body starts to give you messages: stiff back, stiff joints, tight chest, asthma, tightness. Those are the initial warning signs, not too serious. And of course, we become desensitized to all of this. So we just keep charging on, living our lives, continuously suppressing those emotions that are wanting to release, which leads to exhaustion as well, because energy, or emotion being energy, if you have got suppressed emotion, there's a natural desire for that energy to release out of the body, to move through the body. But we have been unconsciously conditioned to suppress it. And the only way you can stop energy from moving is with energy. So what happens is we become very tight, we become quite tense, our muscles stiffen up, we become very shallow breathers as we are subconsciously pushing back against this energy that just wants to leave our body. Actually, we just want it to be witnessed, to be validated, and to be given a chance to release. So we become exhausted, we become depressed, we experience a lot of feelings and discomfort and suffering because of the simple fact that we are suppressing our emotions. So it's really important, I think, to understand that there's a big difference between pain and suffering. All right, pain is unavoidable, as I said earlier. When you lose someone and you really allow yourself to feel your pain and to grieve, it's just important to understand that's a natural part of life. It's just to feel those feelings. It's the conditioning to avoid the pain that leads to the suffering. Because what's happening now is we are trying to move away from our pain. And how do men move away from pain? And it's not just the men that do this, but through the strong conditioning, what happens is men then start to lead to or move towards some kind of behavior to run away from the pain. And it's usually some kind of addictive tendency. Okay, and addiction shows up in a number of ways. It can be the hardcore stuff, drugs, alcohol. It can be pornography, working too hard. Spirituality can be a big trickster as well. There are so many people diving into spirituality, meditating, doing all these incredible things, but they're doing it to avoid their own pain. They're not feeling into their pain. If you want to heal it, you need to allow yourself to feel it. So when we don't allow ourselves to feel our feelings, we are literally lowering our vibration. And when we start to lower the vibration of the body, we then lose ourselves. We disconnect from the high vibration of the heart. The heart starts to close down in terms of the energy center. And then we don't know who we are anymore. We end up as adults compensating for those unmet needs I spoke about earlier, through the formation of this wounding, this identity that we believe we're not good enough, that we're lacking in something. We give all our energy, and we can do this for an entire lifetime. We can spend an entire lifetime making choices to compensate for our own unmet needs instead of remembering who we are and why we actually came here in the first place and what we came here to do. So the men's work that we offer is really helping men to connect into their pain body, and obviously in a very, very safe way and in a variety of ways. But it's only once we are willing to do that, once we are able to see that it's actually okay and it's safe to feel my feelings. It's okay to feel my anxiety. The reason why so many people suffer from anxiety, it's not because of the anxiety. It's because of it's how they are feeding the anxiety. What is anxiety? Anxiety is nothing more than an energy. So if I'm feeling anxious, which is a form of fear, and I don't feed any judgment into it, I don't attach any story to it, I simply allow myself to sit there and feel the anxiety as an energy, you start to realize it's just a feeling. It's just an energy. It's when we start going, oh my gosh, this is now happening again, and last time this happened, and then I lost that, and now this is going to happen. It's when we start to attach judgments and this whole big story to the energy that it gets fed and becomes a monster. All right. So if we just allow ourselves to be held in a safe space, and we allow ourselves to learn what it feels like to just feel my feelings, to feel what's in my body. The body knows how to heal itself. The body knows how to release foreign energy and stuff that doesn't serve it. All that we're asked to do is step out of our own way, and through the breath work that we offer and the other modalities, it's simply just allowing yourself to open up to the suppressed energies that are there. Sometimes we reconnect with a story, a memory. It could be the 5-year-old that was bullied on the school ground, the 7-year-old that was potentially abused. The story might come up from the suppressed, or from the unconscious. But it's simply the willingness to connect with whatever shows up and to allow yourself to feel the feelings, because through the feeling of the feelings, you're releasing those low vibration energies and slowly returning into your heart space. So the work for men, a big part of the work is the willingness to release suppressed energy, feeling the feelings. And it can start with something as simple as boredom, being bored. What is boredom? Boredom is simply a label we've given to an energetic state that is uncomfortable for us. Boredom is like, it's uncomfortable, like I'm bored, I don't want to do this anymore, I've got to get busy. And then we distract ourselves to not feel bored. Boredom is the gateway to what's wanting to release. It's the gateway to healing. So the invitation, obviously in a half an hour chat, we can't dive deep into the resources and the tools, but the general message and the general invitation is allow yourself to sit in your emotions, especially when you get triggered. When we get triggered emotionally, when someone cuts us off in the traffic, the arsehole that cuts us off when we go into road rage, or the boss that does something that really gets us into an emotional state, or our partner maybe, the invitation is to start developing a practice of not projecting back onto the external, not reacting to the external, to step away and sit in it. And you just allow yourself to feel it and to not feed it. So we don't, and what I mean by that is you need to understand we are not our emotions. We are actually not even the character in our story. I am not my personality. I've developed a personality in order to be accepted by the world. I have these different roles that I play so that I can be accepted, because I have a deep need to be accepted. But when I'm sitting in my feelings, I can actually take up the observer role, and I can observe myself experiencing my anger. I can observe myself experiencing my fear, maybe even my joy, my sadness, and I can hold myself and just let myself feel it, knowing that I'm not those things. So that is why it's so important to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is the path back to the heart. It's the path back to authentic power. Toughness is an external facade that we put on. And you might fool others with your toughness. Others might see strength, but you're not fooling yourself. You're the one sitting with those feelings. And as I said earlier, you know, this external toughness that we put on to be accepted is not going to bring relief to the stress that arrives when lockdown takes our business away, or to our depression, or to our anxiety, or to the deep feeling that I don't feel good enough about myself. Toughness does not do anything for that. That is simply me giving all my energy to a compensating tendency of not feeling good enough. And I'm actually then giving all my power away to a personality and an identity and to a mask that I wear. Not allowing myself the opportunity to just feel what is wanting to be felt and to acknowledge and validate a potential little boy inside me that just wants to be held, so that whatever needs to be seen, to be witnessed, and to be released can be released. One of the songs that Matt and Katrina sang earlier, allow your heart to show you the way. Your heart is the only thing that can show you the way. There's no other option. Us men who get stuck in the mind and who are allowing our mind to dominate our choices and our decisions, we will never fully remember who we are or why we're here. And I'm just going to bring up my last slide. Your heart knows who you are. Your mind only knows who you've been. And we don't make the mind the enemy in the scenario. The mind is not the enemy. Your mind and your ego are actually your most loyal servants. The problem is that your mind and your ego are serving who you believe you are. So if deep down in your unconscious belief system, you believe you're not good enough and that you don't have what it takes, the next time you try and step in onto the big stage or to show up fully, your mind and ego are going to kick up a massive resistance because they're trying to honor who you believe you are deep down. And when you start to really heal those internal woundings and the deeper belief systems that are disempowering you, your mind and your ego will start to receive a new message, and they'll literally start serving you in a new way. So the mind is not the enemy. But if you're going to give all your power to the mind, it's going to continue to serve you based on an outdated version of yourself. If you want to know who you truly are as a man, if you want to reconnect with your power, your joy, your creativity, your vitality, what Jonti spoke about, you know, that real ability to connect into your passion, love making from a deep, deep sense of power and flow. If you want to really experience all of that, and if you really want to know who you are as a man in the world, why you're here, what your divine purpose is, your heart has all those answers, because your heart, this is not a romanticized Hollywood version of what the heart is. Your heart is the source of your intuition. Your heart is the portal into your multidimensional self that transcends all time and space. Your heart is in no way influenced by your conditioning, your past, and your old story. And your mind only knows that, because that's how your mind is developed. Your mind is developed and it forms beliefs and a reality based purely on past experience. So the path to your freedom is always going to be back to the heart, the most important journey you'll ever take. And it cannot come without us being willing to navigate the pain body, because the pain body are the walls that we've developed and that we've accumulated as an energy around the heart. So to liberate the hearts, to liberate ourselves, to free ourselves, we need to be able to feel those locked energies out of the body so that the heart can be freed to fully open up and serve us, giving energy down to the genitals, down to the roots, feeding us with abundance, and giving energy up to the higher realms. When the heart is closed, your energy can't flow. And if you're not flowing internally, you cannot flow externally. As within, so without. I think my 30 minutes is up. But that's the message, guys. I want to quickly mention we are doing the most incredible men's retreats. We've got one coming up on the 3rd to the 7th of December, where we do all of the work from identifying your core limiting beliefs right through to the deep emotional diving to healing in a very safe space, right through to doing a proper vision quest in the wilderness to help you remember who you are, why you're here, and to do some of this incredible healing in a really, really amazing way, working with nature, working with the elements, sweat lodges, the whole lot. I'm going to stop there. Svenja, if anybody would like to know about that, can they just connect onto the Facebook, onto the Medicine for All Times Facebook page, pop a request in there, and I'll gladly send you information. Thank you so much. I hope I didn't go too much over time, but it's been wonderful to share. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Volker. So amazing to listen to you, and I'm so grateful for, it's very apparent that this is a passion, and it's something that is very, very dear to your heart, and something that you personally have walked with and have journeyed through. And I think, we are only able to teach something fully once we have experienced it ourselves. So thank you for bringing your essence into your teachings to us this evening. And such a good reminder, about this concept of masculine needing to be tough and not feeling into our emotions. And again, this is something that I think that we need to teach our young boys so that, they can become more conscious, more embodied human beings when they become adults. I want to see if there's anything else. The feeling our feelings and connecting to the energetic vibration. Yeah, just really, really beautiful and potent, and such great reminders. And I love the visuals to kind of hone it in. Thank you, Volker, for your time and your essence. And absolutely. So for everybody's details and information, they will all be posted underneath the YouTube, and they'll be posted within the Medicine for All Times. So please connect, So as a listener, if you have really felt resonance with any one of our speakers, please, please, please reach out. And absolutely, we would like to begin to connect these, to make these connections, because the more we connect to like-minded people, the more we connect to something that resonates with us, or something that our heart calls for, the more we have an opportunity to grow into that part of ourselves. So just from my side, such deep gratitude for the speakers that have shared with us this evening, Craig and Jonti and Volker. They've been really, really powerful, beautifully flowing and congruent conversations that you've had. Very, very necessary. And as I said, I definitely will want to watch the replay of this to remind myself of all of the incredible wealth of knowledge that you have shared with us. And just from behind the scenes, so without Russ, who is our incredible tech support, this platform would not be here. So just deep, deep gratitude. And Russ has just come off a beautiful weekend of questing. So even more gratitude for showing up and for being in the space to hold this platform for us. And to all of you that are watching either live or the replay, again, without all of you watching, without your essence and without your interest in viewing, this platform would not exist. And I really feel blessed and honored to be a part of this and to be a part of the conduit to bring this information into the world at a time that is really, really necessary. So I just want to take a moment to close this beautiful circle that we've created this evening. Wherever you are, I encourage you just to uncross your legs and uncross your arms and just take a moment to feel back into your sits bones and to connect to your beautiful breath, this incredible natural detoxification system that we have that's just automatic in our bodies. And I'd like us to just take a moment to release our energy allies that have been so present and so incredibly holding this evening while we have shared this potent and pertinent information. So connecting to our stone beings and the element of earth, we thank you for being with us in the space this evening, and we release you and your incredible essence and energy. And the element of water, your beautiful flow and connection back to the heart space and the self, which has been the theme, the beautiful thread throughout the conversations this evening. Thank you for your holding and for your presence, and we release you from the space. And to the fire, again, a beautiful theme, and weave through the connecting to the passion and the beautiful flame that sits within every masculine divine, whether we are masculine in gender or not. I thank you for your essence and your presence, and I release you from this space. And to the element of air, the beautiful movement and flow and creativity and clarity that you bring. And again, this connection back to self when we breathe, when we take a moment to connect back to our breath. We become present in the here now moment, and it gives us an opportunity to connect back to our heart space. We release you and thank you for your essence and your presence with us this evening. Thank you again to everybody. I wish you the most beautiful and flowing Sunday evening. And thank you for being with us. And we look forward to connecting with you in 2 weeks' time. Aho, matakuyasan.